Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Hostel Part 3, released in 2011. Unlike Part 2, Hostel 3 doesn't follow any of the characters or even countries from the previous films. Instead, the elite hunting club now runs a hotspot in Las Vegas, where 4 bros on a bachelor party wind up falling victim to them and their clientele. Although Hostel Part 2 bombed at the box office, work started on a third installment 1 year later in 2008. Eli Roth briefly toyed with a story that followed the Bubblegum Gang, but left the project early, claiming there was no such thing as a good Part 3. Come on, man, really gonna treat Dream Warriors like that? Series executive producer Scott Spiegel took over, the man who helped Sam Raimi make Evil Dead. When Spiegel started, Part 3 was a detective story about hunting down the hunters. And The Hangover came out in 2009, and Sony issued a directive. Do that! Thus the Vegas setting and a focus on suspense rather than torture porn. Hostel Part 3 was released direct-to-video and looks like it, with a cheap digital appearance and some questionable acting and shots. What is this shot movie, and why hold on it for 8 whole seconds? I'm not looking at anything! What the fuck? It subverts some expectations of a Hostel movie, so much so that it ends up barely being a Hostel movie. Except for the drawn-out torture scenes, of course, which feel more like padding here than ever before. The first 2 films have plenty of issues, but they challenge me, and I can respect that. I don't get anything strong in particular from Part 3. At this point, it's just going through the motions. Will a cheaper budget mean... What the...
I was sent by today's sponsor.
Magic Spoon?
It's cereal.
Reinvented.
Good evening, Mr. Janice. As a top officer of the ISF, you know our sponsor, Magic Spoon.
I mean, yeah, of course. They offer high-protein, gluten and grain-free cereal that's full of natural flavors and 0 grams of sugar. Their high-quality ingredients keep me fueled for every step of my day.
I know it does. Now, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to spread the word about your love of Magic Spoon to the Dead Meat audience.
Yeah, alright. I'm happy to. I've enjoyed Magic Spoon cereal for years, and with their build-your-own bundle, I can stock up on bestsellers like cocoa and peanut butter, my personal favorites like maple waffle, and experiment with new flavors like honey nut. Each flavor is a little hit of nostalgia, reminding me of the childhood cereals I loved, but now with high-quality ingredients.
We knew you were the man for the job. Remember, should you or the Dead Meat team fail in your mission, the sponsor will disavow all knowledge of your actions. Good luck. This cereal box will self-destruct in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Still good. You can build your own variety box and get $5 off with our code DEADMEATJAMES at the link below. Plus, Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Will a cheaper budget mean less torture and fewer kills? Let's find out and get to them. The movie begins horned up on booty cheeks, so I guess it is still a Hostel film in some ways after all. Travis is a dorky-looking American who finds himself shacked up with some PDA-loving roomies from the Eastern Bloc.
Come. Have a drink with us.
He cautiously counters their offer of suitcase vodka with his travel beer, and Victor repays the favor by letting him ogle Anka as much as he wants. Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas. As soon as Vic starts talking about sex clubs, though, Anka passes out in the shower. In a nice reversal of expectations, Travis is revealed to be the human trafficker here. I bet you thought it was Victor, huh? Way to profile. I'm just so ashamed. Travis works for the Elite Hunting Club's US branch. Since this ain't Slovakia, it's Sin City, motherfuckers! But don't worry, we'll still be following a hapless American. In this case, Scott. He's setting off for a bachelor party weekend with best man and worst guy, Carter. These two are a carbon copy of Todd and Stewart from Hostel 2. The tall, brash alpha friend and the shorter, more sensitive main character. Carter promises Scott's fiancée, Amy, that they're merely going to golf in Palm Springs. But over a Whip Whitaker, he reveals he's secretly booked a Wolfpack weekend in Vegas. The studio mandated Las Vegas as a setting, but production could only afford to film there for 4 of its 20 days. Everything else was shot in, oh shit, Detroit, Michigan! Since this was the brief era of the state's film incentive tax rebates. Cheap and easy, baby! That means when Scott and Carter are checking into the fictional Excelsior Casino, in actuality, they're checking into the Greektown Casino downtown. I mean, Greektown's cool and all, but it's clearly no Vegas casino. Maybe that's why they spend so much time with the camera hiding up these girls' asses, Jesus. The rest of the movie cheats by keeping the characters on sad-looking streets and alleyways. Come on, guys, I get having to cheat your location, but even Lep 3 made sure to sprinkle in a little shit on the actual strip. Or Fremont, at least. They meet up with the other two groomsmen for a long night of playing cards fast.
Big slick!
Justin's a mostly nice guy whose physical disability gets him rejected by some women and teased by his so-called friends.
You're not only disabled, you're also gay.
Not Alan Tudyk teasing him there is Michael, by far the most hostilist character, by which I mean a real piece of shit.
Asians are bad luck. They're luck killers. Sorry.
Nickel slot groupies Kendra and Nikki can't help but fall for the gang's riz.
We like freaky. We've always been into that sort of thing.
The ladies suggest a cooler place to loiter, way off the strip. The boys have so little blood in their brains, they don't even wonder why the cabbie's giving them a free ride to Club Jigsaw. Before they get inside, Amy calls Scott to worry and whine. She's worried about him cheating on her, since he's done it before, but she should be worried about him getting headbagged and waterboarded. Oh, and also cheating on her still, I guess. Cause turns out this is an elaborate bachelor party arranged by Carter. How much did he pay to rent this whole frickin' warehouse? And all these people are there just for Scott, too. They friggin' chant his name like a bunch of dorks. Scott's played by Brian Hollisay, who's now most famous for his work on shows like Revenge and 911. He married into horror royalty though, since his wife is Jennifer Love. What are you waiting for? Hewitt. Scott's surprisingly cool about his Gitmo-themed surprise party, even following Kendra to the champagne room. His guilt over past indiscretions stops him from getting his dick wet though. No worries, unhappily married man Mikey is more than willing to take the room from him, to use with Nikki and to fulfill his race car driver fantasies.
Indy 500.
One more.
Scott's puking outside and passing out when he's approached by the cabbie, or cabbies from his drunk POV. But don't worry, he wakes up safe and sound in his hotel room. I guess that guy just gave him a ride home. Oh, that's nice. Though Scott got off him free, that's not the case for Mikey, who wakes up in a human kennel. He's been taken out into the desert to the hunting facility, which was played by the Detroit Masonic Temple, the largest of its denomination in the world. Opened in 1926, the building is so vast that it was used as a soundstage simultaneously by Hostel 3, the horror comedy Vamps, and Sorrentino's This Must Be the Place. Chelsea's been there for dance recitals, and director Scott Spiegel was familiar as well. He and buddy Bruce Campbell had their 1976 high school graduation there. Mikey's cage is across from Victor. Hey Victor, remember that guy? There was one more scene with him and Anka, clumsily placed mid-opening credits, but they haven't been seen in the past 20 minutes. He's here now though, and he watches as Mikey's dragged out of his cage by guards who yell at and emasculate him.
Take your fucking mouth and take it like a man!
It's hard to just buck up when you're the latest contestant on Wheel of Misfortune, an idea Scott Spiegel had that he couldn't believe cleared the legal department. As if the stakes of thrill killing weren't high enough, this Vegas-based spin sees the hunting club's clients gambling on various torture porn predictions, like how quickly Mike will mention his family.
Please listen. I have a wife, I have a fucking daughter, I have a son. They're 6 and 4 years old.
For
Please,
family,
please,
1
please.
minute 58 seconds. The over-under was 2 minutes. Congratulations to players 2, 5, and 7.
It's a Black Mirror-esque twist on the formula that includes betting on the murder weapon. This dude thinks it'll be a drill, but the killer doesn't commit to the bit. Sorry, guy. Instead, he makes a mask out of Mike and plays peekaboo with his own face. Not even John Travolta and or Nicolas Cage could save him now. Mike's exfoliating skin peel and the rest of this movie's effects were designed by Robert Kurtzman, the former K of K&B Effects Group. He took over the franchise's effects from the B&N, Howard Berger, and Greg Nicotero. Although he was working with a much smaller budget, Kurtzman and his team still got away with making a lot of wacky prosthetics.
Also, we had to build these oversized sections of interior of a nostril and interior mouth that we could put the camera through and shoot these POVs from the back of the throat as, you know, certain torture devices came into their mouths, like shockers and whatever.
Back at the hotel, the horny boys use a business card that Nikki gave Justin to find out where she lives. But that card only has her email address.
It's called cyber stalking. I'm pretty good at it.
Something we should know, Justin? They eventually break into Nikki's trailer, only to find that nobody's home. And the other sex worker, Kendra, busts in with a burly friend, and the guys learn Nikki's in the same boat as Mike.
Nikki didn't come home last night either.
The unlucky ladies weren't working for the elite hunting club at all. They were just hired by Carter for the party. Nikki is just as much a victim as Mike. Actually, probably a bit worse. Her public execution comes in the form of a sugar water spritz and a sprinkling of cockroaches. Pretty gross, but probably not fatal. fatal, right? Oh, never mind, it is fatal. Damn, girl, you could have closed your mouth or chewed. Don't let fear be such a factor. Travis, the creep from the opening scene, reminds us all that he's a creep.
Still fucking hot.
Nasty little Axel. He tries to convince Nikki's friend she's alive by texting them a picture of her face, just like the hunters did with Oli in the first movie. This time, the bad guy goes the extra mile and uses it to lure them towards a hostel. Can't help but think they maybe should have brought Kendra's shotgun-toting friend. He could have helped when people started coming out of the mirrors and shit to capture Carter, Scott, and Kendra. Travis personally takes care of Justin, who gets one good hit in, but is ultimately taken just the same. They're carted off to the battering cages, where the goons call first dibs on Justin. As he's escorted to the showroom, Carter shows his get-out-of-jail-free bloodhound stamp. It saves him from trouble, but not Scott.
It means members only.
Carter, you dick! Turns out Carter is a member of the Bloodhound Gang, and he's here to do it like they do on the torture porn channel. Despite being one of their best customers, Carter's still disliked by Mr. Fleming, the guy in charge here. Fleming's gone out of his way to grant Carter a special request, and the dude is still a total Kipper douchebag. Come on, man, don't order Jack straight up if that's how you're gonna drink it in front of this guy. Fix your face. Carter has sold out his friends, meaning Justin's about to get killed by some ghost pirates. His killer is actually a Japanese cyberpunk woman, the only weirdly themed killer of the series. I guess it makes sense to have something like this when the clients are more spectator than spec, as in Richard. The hunter is a markswoman and gives Justin high-speed acupuncture with a crossbow. Eventually, she works her way to the most sensitive pressure point of all, the brain, or maybe the dick. Doesn't matter, she shoots them both and Justin is killed. Next up on Wheel of Misfortune is Scott, since he's not on the hunting club's client list. He's dressed up like he's going to see Goldfinger, but it's his bro Carter who expects him to die. Carter is played by former Titan of Memory Kip Perdue, who you might know as the voice of Alan in Resident Evil 7. He's great at being a sniveling asshole, even before the twist, but he elevates his performance to supreme assholery when it's revealed he's here to kill his best friend. It'll put the thrill back into killing, since murdering nobodies has grown old hat for him. And besides, then he can steal Scott's fiance.
This is all about Amy?
Yeah, what? This is all about Amy? Maybe you should have featured her in more than 2 short scenes, though there is a line that indicates a past between her and Carter.
You had your chance freshman year.
Before Carter can play Carver, Travis keeps the action interesting and lets Scott go so they can have a boy fight. They get it on like it's Nevada Battleland until Scott gets the upper thing on the ceiling and stabs Carter to near death. Interesting two-handed technique there. Of all the details in Hostel 3's kill box, the weirdest is a giant QR code that Scott and Carter's sword fight passed. It was intended to be one of many in the movie that viewers could scan for viral advertisements, but the idea was scrapped and now it just generates text that says, "Top left B." Scott makes his escape as Victor plans his own rebellion. He's able to spring a trap on a guard coming to tase him and gives the guy an electric tonsillectomy. Scott flails around for a better weapon of his own and gets medieval on some hench ass, but is shooted away from looting the corpse. Victor adds to the chaos by axing out the power, then sets a shining example by hacking a guard to death, before unfortunately catching a shotgun blast to the chest. I liked Victor, especially watching that opening scene in retrospect. He was just a non-jealous dude with a hot girlfriend who was down to get drunk with an American tourist. R.I.P. bro. Realizing that things have gone tits up, Fleming has Travis dismiss the clientele. They speed away from the building in their limos and avoid getting added to the kill count. Then Fleming says to execute Order 66.
Kill them all. No witnesses.
To ensure this scenario, they're setting up a bomb and sending out murder squads. Scott manages to save Kendra by blasting a guard before he can execute her. Turns out, he only bought her like 30 more seconds of life though, since Travis shoots her in the butt and I guess kills her with a kick to the face. Honestly, pretty gentle way to go in this series, all things considered. Down in the parking garage, Fleming tries to escape before this pop stand blows, but Carter escalates the situation, Mikey Myers style, and stabs the head honcho repeatedly in the front seat. Ultimately, he uses Fleming as a Dean Adams to get over the parking spikes. Brenda Bates, eat your heart out. Although he doesn't stick around long, Thomas Kretschmann brings his trademark menace to Fleming. From King Kong to Dario Argento to Indiana Jones, he's worked with all the greats, often as a villain. His casting carries on Roth's tradition of using genre legends and bit parts for these films. Back inside, Scott's giving a Midwestern eulogy for his friends.
Oh, Jesus.
Travis interrupts him, and the two play Is It Cake with various parts of the human body until Scott recycles cycles Justin's brace as a beating stick. He kills Travis with brute force, maybe even beating him to death before he bleeds out from his arm stump. As far as Hostel bad guys go, I like Chris Coy's wienery performance as Travis. It was cool how the character slipped between behaviors as the situation needed. Fleming's self-destruct sequence is nearing the end as Carter and Scott both try to escape. Carter takes a beat to be a dick one last time, causing Scott to seemingly cash out in the explosion. Now, sure, there are a lot of people who might have died in that explosion, like clients and guards and, oh yeah, Anka, remember her? But there's no way to know a definitive number. And besides, that parking garage looked pretty empty to me. All that being said, the explosion nets us a fiery goose egg for the count. Which also means Scott didn't die either, of course, despite the urn that Carter and Amy cuddle in front of sometime later. She keeps up the ruse until Carter drops his guard, and then she drops the bomb on him.
Problem is, he's alive!
My question is, how long was she going along with Carter's story? There's an urn there. It would have had to order that. So like what, at least a week? A badly burned Scott drags Carter to the improvised game room in their garage, where they have an entire home and garden section of misfortune waiting for him. The crazy kids landscape Carter's face with a rototiller, proving once again that the couple that flays together stays together. I can't wait to see how they top this for the bachelorette party, but for now, let's spin this wheel. Huh, get to the numbers. Thank God it didn't land on Help Crowdfund Thanksgiving 4. 12 people died in Hostel Part 3, fewer than the first two installments. The victims included 10 men and 2 women, giving us the bluest pie chart of the franchise. We've seen the same count and breakdown in 13 Ghosts and the combined kill count for Sunny Family Cult Seasons 1 and 2. Remember those? With a runtime of 88 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 7.33 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Mike's facelift. I love the stringy shot of his skin coming off, kinda from his POV. Dull machete for lamest kill goes to Nikki. Death by cockroach is creepy and crawly and cool in concept. And I like that Kurtzman had to make an oversized mouth for the shot, but I'm not entirely sure how she died from it. Indigestion, maybe? I don't know. And that's it. Hostel Part 3 came out in 2011. Scott Spiegel was game to make another direct-to-video installment, but the studio wasn't interested. Besides some recent rumblings of a reboot, that's where the Hostel series checks out. And that's also the end of our previously agreed to sponsorship contracts covering AMPTP films, meaning things are about to get weird here on Dead Meat. Until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching this Kill Count for Hostel Part 3. I want to thank some patrons like Carson Griffey, Marcus Lundgren, Mr. Yeetmaster, Adam Craft PC, Brandon, Guillermo Martinez, and MCR Anime 58. Thanks everyone. Be good people.